Don't you know that it hurts so good? It hurts so good. It hurts so good. It hurts so good. When you discover that you're not living on a spinning ball, it can hurt a bit, but it's a good hurt eventually when you come out the other end. You feel renewed, refreshed, a different mindset because you've taken on a whole new paradigm. You've discarded and discredited the heliocentric globe nonsense, and you've realized that we're living on a plane and everything that goes with that. Now, okay, yeah, we can't answer all the questions right now, but that is part of the wonder of your new world. Anyway, been really enjoying some of the stuff recently. Dell's new shed looks great. I hope he has many a fine time in it. Well, actually, I hope he only has to do it for a year or so, and then the scales will tip in the favour of the new paradigm, and that'll be it. And all I want to do then is just back out, do nothing. But I won't let. Well, let's hope that it's not just taken over by the sort of contained flat Earth, pizza dish bollocks. Also, that I don't think that's what's real. But I think the whole thing about this is there's more land, and they want to contain us, and that's it. Now, what that land has to offer, I don't know. Whether it's got more resources, different peoples that wouldn't like to mix with us, and can you blame them? But anyway, that's all. Again, that's just conjecture. So there's fun, but we don't know. Bill from Florida. He's been doing some great stuff, and Antonio Subratz. I've been enjoying his kind of highlighting this lad Andy, who's been doing some great observations all the way off North Africa, seeing islands that you couldn't see if you were on a ball. And anyway, I recommend, if you haven't watched them, watch them. It was actually Antonio that got me thinking about this, what I'm going to talk about now. It was years ago on remember Political Hillbilly? If you've been into this for a while, you'll probably remember Political Hillbilly. I think he had to give up because his wife took ill, and you know how in America their health service it's piss poor. You have to pay through the nose for any treatment, and it doesn't seem fair because people get sick whether they're rich or poor, and it's the same amount of money to treat each individual, depending on what ails them, of course. And Obamacare is apparently that's just not working properly as it maybe should have done. I don't know. I don't know much about it. I'm just, the National Health Service isn't all it's cracked up to be. Let me tell you. But it's good if you break your leg. It's the best. If you want diagnosis, it's very good for that. Your doctor, your GP will refer you to somebody who will tell you what's wrong with you, and then you treat it. That's my advice. Don't let them anywhere near you. Don't let them sell you any drugs, because that's all they are really, just drug dealers. Our doctors these days in the UK. Not really sure what goes on elsewhere, but anyway, that was Political Hillbilly's story, and I hope you're all right if you're listening, or if you're not listening, I hope you're all right. Anyway, I was probably preparing some food or something in the kitchen, and I heard Antonio talk about the analemma of the sun, and he said that it describes, well, if you set up a camera and you take the same shot every day of the sun at let's just say solar noon, after a year of doing that, you will have a series of photographs that describe, the sun will describe a figure of eight. And it will have an unequal loop. One is bigger than the other. And the heliocentric version says that is due to the sun being 3 million miles further away in the winter, in the northern winter. It doesn't feel like that to me. It feels like it's, did I say, well, 3 million miles closer in the northern winter. It's closer. It doesn't feel like that. But they say, well, 3 million miles, what's that in 100 million or 93 million, whatever it is, which has changed, by the way, all throughout history. When they realised the lie couldn't cope with this phenomena, so they had to push it out further and further and further away. Because I think it was a 3 million miles to begin with, and then it was 6, and then it was blah blah blah. So it's all just like shifting the goalpost to suit the lie. So when they found out about the uneven figure of eight, which is the analemma of the sun, they had to come up with something to explain it, and that was the sun being 3 million miles further away in the northern winter. Okay. Well, and then, so I was quite interested, and I must have started watching or listening more intently by this time. And then I think it was the same time he started describing how in the Arctic Circle in the north, the sun in June, in late June, you cannot. The sun doesn't disappear below the horizon. It's always above the horizon in the northern Arctic Circle in June, or in the end of June. I'm not sure how long it actually does this. Quite a few days, I think. But I used to live not that far away from the Arctic Circle, and you could read a newspaper at the end of June at midnight outside. You could read. It's quite small print. And although the sun actually did go down below, or let's just say correct, it went far enough away for it to actually disappear, but you could still see the light. So for 2 hours, it was about 2 hours, then it came back into view. So I know this is an actual, truth. It's a fact. And Antonio Subratz has also friends with a chap, a Russian chap called Sergei. I can't remember your surname. And he lives in Murmansk or around about that area. And last June, he filmed the sun doing just that, just going round and round above the horizon. So what, you may say, but you cannot do that in the southern pole. No, nobody's ever done that in the south, and we're not allowed to go down there to discover that you can't do that. So, so what, you may say? Well, it's a fact. Now, Antonio did say that he got both his channels taken down because he was actually showing that footage. Now, I don't know whether that's right or not, but it seems very severe. Just because you're showing the sun going round the Arctic Circle above the horizon, because on a ball it would actually do that also. But this is the thing. This is the whole point of this. It wouldn't actually appear to do that because the sun's moving, not the Earth. And in the heliocentric model, the Earth has to move. Everything has to move in the heliocentric model. So some people say that it's a ball, but it's geocentric. No, that can't be right either, because the ball would have to move, and this would not be what we observe. Now, this is a little bit tricky, and it took me a couple of explanations to actually get this, but think of when you were on a roundabout, a merry-go-round, carousel, I think it's called also, and you can see a person waiting for you to get off, perhaps parents or friends, and you keep your eyes on them as you go around. Just think about that. And that is you moving, like the Earth is supposed to move. And what would happen is that person would be there, and then there, and then there again. Yet, the sun goes all the way around. So what's going on there? Well, the Earth is stationary, and the object that you're watching is moving. That is what's really going on. And I really realize this fact by thinking of if you're more mechanically minded, thinking of a piston engine and the crank end. So where the conrod attaches to the crankshaft, that describes a circle as it's going round. But if you were at the little end on the top of the conrod, I know it goes up and down, but it doesn't move side to side in relation to the bearing I'm talking about, little end bearing. It doesn't move side to side in relation to the big end, which does. It goes round like that. It goes up and down, yes, but forget about that motion. That's because it's connected with a rod, but you're not connected with a rod to the person that's not on the carousel. Sorry, it's a bit, I'm not very good at explaining things, I must say. So instead of seeing something go from side to side like the crank, would, the crankshaft, that's what you'd see, that side and that side and that side and that side. You would see the whole thing going round you, which is what the sun appears to do, goes round you, and you track it. But you couldn't do that if it was the other way round, if you were the thing that was moving. So relativity is bullshit anyway. But there you go. Now then, I must go now because I've got loads to do today. It's the morning, and I actually did this yesterday evening, and I just wasn't happy with it. I'm not really happy with any of them, but there you go. Um, I hope you can get that, because it is quite well. It totally destroys the heliocentric bullshit. Even though we don't really know what the sun is, if it was 93 million miles away, constant nuclear explosion in the sky, it certainly wouldn't act as like we do observe it. So there you go. I hope you understood that. I'm sorry if you didn't. And if you are a ball believer, you probably won't even try. But carry on in your fantasy world. I don't give a toss. But pity the fool.